Hello, Divine Ones. This is Ashley H.A. Williams for Fueling the Flame podcast, a sector of FD 1111 Ministries. I wanted to jump on real quick just to discuss how angels can appear to you and to eliminate some of the misconceptions that are out there about angels and how they appear, how they look, based on my personal experience as well as studying. So let me see where the Spirit exactly wants me to start. Many people have the ideal that angels come in the form of man with wings, or babies with wings. This is just an interpretation of angels. And so angels can come in many different forms, in many different shapes and sizes. They can appear in anything in nature. Some of my personal experiences that I will share here with you, because maybe you can relate and then you can understand that possibly you have had an angel experience and you can gain some type of information and understanding from these stories. So recently, I'm going to start maybe a few years back before my official initiation into the higher realms of consciousness. All right, so I have grown up in the church. I have grown up in the Christian background. And so, yes, we do know about angels, and we know about the presence of God coming through and miracles, etc. But we never really dived into angel sightings recently, recent activities. A lot of people think that, that is hogwash, or that is like allegory. And these sightings aren't true, or either they were true back in the biblical times, but the modern day times, angels do not really come upon man. They do not really exist. Maybe they're still floating around in heaven. And so with that being said, some of my personal recent experiences that I've had. One was I started to listen to binaural beats, and I started to listen to meditations to find out who my spirit, or what my spirit animal was. And one instance I specifically remember, I was sitting on the couch, dark. I had the meditation on my computer and on the speakers, and I started to feel like I was getting sleepy, but it was just me only in the room. I felt, I was laying back on my back, and I felt this presence, and it set me up straight and almost set me so that I'm leaning onto my lap, almost how you would do a baby when you're about to burp a baby on your lap. And I was put up, and then I was laid back. And as I was being laid back, I wanted to fight it, but I did not fight it. So it's a difference between the feeling of what they would call a witch riding your back, or some type of presence that you do not want around you, or you're trying to fight. This was really different. And I felt as I was going back that I was being baptized. And for those that may have been baptized before, or have had that type of experience, maybe you can relate. And it felt like I was being reborn. And then I fell into a deep, deep sleep. Another instance in the same house, in the same location of the house, I was the only one up, and I was in the kitchen. And so there's an opening from the kitchen to the living room into the hallway. And I felt like the ground under me was shaking, like as if it was an earthquake. I live in Virginia. There's no earthquakes. Very seldomly, very rarely have there been any earthquakes. And besides, it would have woke up other people in the family inside the house. But anyways, like it literally was like an earthquake, and I could not keep my balance. And the earth under me was shaking. I put my hand on the counter, and as I looked up, I seen a pillar of smoke. I had nothing burning, no candles, no incense, no nothing. And towards the living room area, I seen like a pillar of smoke. And the presence was letting me know that I am on stable ground, letting me know that things are about to shift. And it was no words that were being said at all. Another experience that I've had just recently, I actually shared this one with the family, the soul family here. This was months ago. And it came in through a dream, and it was like a shape with colors. It was like these balls in a shape of some type of geometrical shape. And the balls they were like golden balls of light, but they contained rainbow colors within them. And they were moving around. And I looked up in my dream and I reached my hand up to touch it, but my hand went through the object, and I felt like I was being initiated once again, but this was like a higher form. And it felt very heavenly. And how can you put into words what heavenly feels like and smells like, tastes like, whatever? But it felt very like a calming peace over me. This has happened throughout my life, where there's been different instances where like pillars of smoke would come to me from a little child. They will come to me, and it's just like a pillar of smoke, or it will be colors. It will come through as sun rays almost, but it would not be daytime. It will just be like either dusk, or it'll be like dawn, or either or either nighttime, or either I wouldn't even know what time it actually would be, but I would be in a room with like no windows or anything like that, or the windows, the shades are closed. I mean, this happened so many times, especially when I was younger, because I wasn't really conditioned. I had more so of an open mind, and for a period of time I shut down and wanting to take in new information. I was just honing in on whatever the Bible says, which is true, but the way how it was taught and the way how I allowed myself to accept the information, way off, way off. And there's been so many initiations and a lot of spiritual experiences that I've had in the church, and they were real. Like, don't knock experiences anywhere, because the flow of the Spirit happens any and everywhere. You can be sitting in your car. I've had so many experiences in my car where the Spirit would come and show me things. I would start speaking in the angelic languages, what they would call in the biblical text, or either in the church, like tongues. And you have different forms of tongues, okay? You have different languages, no different than we have languages here on earth. And I am going to be doing the podcast / video about the hierarchy of divine ones, divine beings, the hierarchy of twin flames. We are all divine beings and stuff. And this is a direct mirror of the hierarchy of angelic realms, of spiritual realms. You go from the physicality of the underworld to on the earth, regular earth, what we see, the spiritual realms, the natural realms, the heavenly realms. These are all different realms and different hierarchies. And so things will come to you differently. And you have animals that can be, when I say the word possessed, I'm not talking about like they're foaming at the mouth and like they're going to bite you. I'm talking about being touched by an angelic presence. I've had angels come to me in my sleep, and they come through differently. As well, my aunt as well. She has seen angels in her sleep. She has talked to other people that have seen angels when they were awake. One lady that she told me about, her child was very sick. And so her child was asleep. And she woke up out of her sleep. And so she peeped into the room, and it was an angel standing over top of her child, over top of the head, praying for her child or interceding for her child. And that's what I'm talking about, the hierarchies. So some people want to group angels all together in one lump sum. An angel is an angel, a man is a man, but we have different species of humans here, and science can prove that. We have different species or different rankings of angels. And so angels that will intercede on the behalf of man, behalf of an individual. And that's exactly how it appeared to her. My aunt has told me other stories of people that have shared stories with her about angels being like 10 feet tall. Like one of her dreams that she shared with me, she was walking through the grocery store, and it was a man, like a regular man, but his countenance was that of an angel, but the angel was so tall that the angel hit the ceiling. If you can understand what I'm saying. So it's almost like a shadow, but the shadow was of a really bright light, and you can just sort of tell like by the presence. And she said that that's when she's seen an angel. She had been asking to see angels, for the angelic presence to come to her. And she would say that in her flesh, she would be scared when it seems like something was going to happen. You know, you can read through the biblical text, and when an angel first appears to an individual, they fall on their face and they are scared. And the angel says, no need to be afraid. You know, I'm an angel of, or a messenger of God, or the Most High, or, you know, whatever. And so that's the reason why angels can come to you differently than what is either depicted, such as a man with wings, or how we may think they may come. And so it's to give us a message and to give us anointing, which is nothing but a covering or initiation to do something else in our life, to help others. So for those that may have gifts of healing, you may be anointed or ordained or initiated to go to a higher level of healing. So you may, for example, you may be a doctor or a nurse. You may have that gift, but then you are initiated to start to have healing in your hands. So you could touch patients, not even give them any drugs or any medications, and heal them instantly. Or they could leave the hospital and be instantly healed at home, or progressively healed. It's all healing. You may be in the church, and your form of healing may have been praying, but then you go through an initiation and you can just speak healing over people. You know, there's so many different ways of how angels can come to you and initiations happen. Yeah, I can, you know, share so many other stories about different initiations in my life. And so it's a progression. You know, you may already have been initiated when you were born. One individual that I knew personally, and my aunt knew personally as well, he was born with a veil over his face. So this could be hypothetically, or I still don't fully understand if it's a metaphor, but I have read before that people actually have been born with a veil. Like, it's like, medically, it's two different ways of how to describe it. So medically, it's like a covering over their face, like it's an extra skin or something over their face that has to be taken off. And I'm not talking about surgically. It's like almost like the placenta, but it's different, and it has to be removed differently, but not surgically. Another way of how I've heard it described, like, and this is going back in you know, 1900s hand-me-down type of stories, is actually a black veil over the baby's face. It's almost like it looks much like a cloth almost, and they have the visions in which they can see spirits. And I got the chills coming over me as soon as I said spirits, because I'm also thinking about my soulmate's mother, and she was born as a twin, but her twin passed on, and she can see spirits. She told me stories about spirits that she has seen and encounters. Another one of my family members was born as a twin as well. Their twin passed on, and they can see spirits. Another one of my family members were born. This is an older, way older family member. She was born a twin. Her twin died, but she is blind, but she can see spirits as well. So the veil was torn when the manifested Christ, the Christos, died on the cross. And the cross is nothing but the resistance, the representation of limitation. Okay, and during those 3 days that he was dead, that's when activations of what they call faith, and being able to activate and reach different levels of consciousness. Okay, and so with that tearing of the veil, this is talking about not having the division between the spiritual and the earthly. And this is talking about as well being able to access different parts of your mind, different recesses of your mind as well. But I have to share that, you know, I just roll with whatever the Spirit gives me to give to the collective, the connected. Okay, yes, we are all connected. All right, and so with that veil, also, what they call about being thinned is like that the veil is nothing but the calcified pineal gland in the physical, nothing but the shield over the third eye, over being able to access that part of the brain, access the spiritual realms, and which is nothing but a higher level of physicality. Okay, and so with thinning the veil, what they mean by that, they're just talking about going to another higher level of consciousness and breaking down the 3D experience so therefore you can receive new information. That's it. So for those that are watching on YouTube, hey, what's up, family? So anyways, if you could hit that like button, and if you want to join here, the family here, and subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell so you can receive those notifications for when I go live or post new content. Make sure you leave a comment so this information can reach more divine ones. We're growing our light. We're growing our love as well so we can reach more divine ones. Interested in joining the Patreon page, the Sacred Guild of Hashem, that link is down below. Personal services down below. Any other playlists about divine marriage, about twin flame essentials, Masculine Mondays, Feminine Fridays, those playlists are listed down below. Any questions you have, you can definitely leave them down below. Most of the comments I check. Most all of them I really check. For those who are listening on the podcast, I will check you later.